Hey there, so today we have another beer talk and we're going to be talking about the Brewers Association's new logo, about what a craft brewery is, what is an independent brewery. So we're going to be talking about definitions, about what they consider a craft brewery to be. We'll be talking about some positives and then the negatives about this new logo. So talk about definitions. What does the Brewers Association, which is the largest trade group in craft beer that promotes craft beer, what do they consider to be a craft brewery? You have to produce less than 6 million barrels a year, so that includes some really large breweries like Yuengling and Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams. But then it includes all your breweries under Sierra Nevada, Big, and all the way down. So it doesn't include your other larger macro breweries. And then only 25%, or no more than 25% of your brewery can be owned by another non-craft brewery in the alcohol industry. So your large distilleries and also your large macro brewers. So only 25% can be owned by those large companies. And so that is sort of a definition. I think almost all, or a large majority of the craft breweries that you would consider craft breweries are still craft breweries. So this is really not a big issue for many breweries. I think it is good to have this definition out there. So that's the positive. That at least there is someone has created a definition. I think most people agree with most of the breweries on there, but there obviously are those confusing parts, some of those parts that we might not disagree, so that's one of the negatives. But speaking of positives, we at least have a definition about what a craft brewery is. The Brewers Association has decided that and now has created a logo for the people that want to know who is craft. And so when you go up to a shelf, you see your local brewery with that logo. You want to buy it? Great. Now you know it is craft beer. Whereas maybe you see a Lagunitas on the shelf, or Goose Island on the shelf, or Blue Point on the shelf. You see that and there's no logo there, then you might be able to figure out that, oh, this is owned by a non-craft brewery. So for some people that care, it's good. Yeah. And I think I'd go as far as there. But let's talk about some negatives. So first thing, this is a little bit more about aesthetics and really more than even what the logo means. And first time I saw the logo, I was like, I don't really quite like this. And I'm not a personal graphic designer or art critic or anything like that, but I do like art and I think I have a decent eye for it, but something seemed wrong about it. And actually Good Beer Hunting wrote a great article about what's wrong with this logo. It's an upside down bottle. I mean, it just does not look right to see a logo that has this happening, because that denotes, for a lot of people, drain pour. It just doesn't look quite right. The other issue is that we're talking about a 4-syllable word, independent, but then it's broken up in 3 lines. It just doesn't read very clean. If you look at the logo, it's like independent. Like when you see a logo, it should hit you and should tell you, oh, that's what it means. Like the recycling logo, you don't even need words there. It's just, oh, that's what recycling is. Or a big red octagon, that's the stop sign. It's simple. You don't even need words there. You can figure it out. The independent thing doesn't really read quite clean, so that's another issue. And another big issue is that how big the Brewers Association recommends that you put it on a can. There's only so much space that you can put on a can, and you have the government warning over here. You obviously want to put your brewery's logo, you want to put, where it's from, all that kind of stuff. And for larger macro breweries, you're going to have to put a lot of information on your label, and there's only so much space you can use. And so from what I understand, the Brewers Association wants like that big of a logo on your can or bottle. And a lot of breweries don't have the space for that. And so what that arguably does is that it makes the logo more of a way for the Brewers Association to promote itself and less about telling consumers about the product and whether it is craft. So, maybe there's a nefarious thing behind there. Who knows? It's arguable. But yes, the other issue, the positive was the definition. The negative is also the definition. Jim Vorel on Pace has wrote a great article talking about this. What is macro, this and that, and what the Brewers Association defines as a craft brewery. Not all of these non-craft breweries are equal. So here's a great example. Goose Island, 100% owned by AB InBev. AB InBev, arguably, or not even arguably, considered the largest predator to craft beer in the US. Founders, guess what? They're not on the Brewers Association craft breweries list. Why? 30% of the brewery is owned by Mahu. Who's Mahu? Mahu is a large macro brewery in Spain. And so how has Mahu really hurt US American craft breweries? Really hasn't. They barely have, any market penetration in the US, nor are they known for having tactics that are harmful to US craft breweries. So how is a Mahu only 30% owned brewery, like Founders, equal to Goose Island, 100% owned by AB InBev? So they're not equal, yet both cannot get this independent logo. So obviously the definition is not equal for all breweries. So that is another issue with this logo. But in the end, what is my opinion? For me, use is marginal. For geeky people like me that go out of their way to read about this stuff, find out who's craft, hear the news on their Facebook or their forums and blah, 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 they know that Lagunitas, was sold out to Heineken, or Constellation bought out Ballast Point for $1 billion, yada, yada. Everybody knows about, or the geeks know about these stories. So for us, it doesn't really help that much. For a lot of consumers, they just pick off beer off the shelf. It might be a Macro, it might be a Sierra Nevada, it might be a New Belgium Fat Tire. They don't really care if it's Macro or not. They buy both. So I think it's a really small market of people that it really affects. So to me, the use is marginal. My opinion about it is marginal. So there you go. This whole rant is all about whatever. It is what it is. Good luck to the Brewers Association. I really hope that for the breweries that it is useful to, and to the consumers that it is useful to, it is great. So great to the breweries, great to the consumers. It helps, but I don't have much to say about it. So I want you guys to post in the comments below what you think about it. I certainly will have my replies. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Later.